everyone, it's Elena, and last week I asked you guys for questions that you have about UWC or the IB, and many of you guys sent me your questions and I'm going to do my best to answer all of them in this video. Now before we get started, I just quickly want to say that I was an applicant through the German National Committee, and everything I'm going to say about the application process and financial aid is based on my experience with the German National Committee. Other national committees may have very different policies on these things, so please keep this in mind if you're an applicant from a country other than Germany. Alright, so now let's get started. Was it difficult for you to study in English as your native language? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I actually took English A, which is the course for native speakers, and since I'm from Germany, I'm not a native speaker, but I honestly have not regretted it. The teachers at LPC are very experienced and they know when they should advise a student to go to English A or when they should tell them to go to English B. So really trust your teachers on that one and you're going to be absolutely fine. So no, it wasn't difficult. It was challenging at times, but it wasn't too difficult. It was really the right level for me. How difficult is the IB? Will a decent study schedule get you good marks? Okay, so I don't think the IB is that difficult as many people say, but it is challenging. But it's absolutely doable. And a decent study schedule is going to get you decent marks, but obviously if you want top marks, then you are also going to need to have an excellent study schedule, and you will need a lot of self-discipline because you will have to stick to that study schedule in order to get these top marks. What about the journey you have to pay every time you come and leave? Would it be included in the scholarship? Yes. What if your parents would be able to pay more than they would like to, if they want to save money for something? Is it possible to still get a scholarship? No, because financial aid is only given to students who actually need it. Things like saving for retirement or stuff like that can be taken into consideration, but simply not wanting to pay is not going to get you financial aid. Can you tell us how you did on the tests, like the math test to enter UWC? There is no test to enter UWC. There was an IQ test included in the selection process, but to be honest, that IQ test did not count a lot towards the admissions decision, and there is no subject-specific test, so don't worry about anything like that. UWC wants what kind of student? Oh, that's what we all want to know, right? To be honest, I think UWC is just looking for students who are very passionate about an issue or several issues, who are engaged with their communities, and who believe in the UWC values, and who would promote a UWC-like culture at their colleges. And of course, they are also hoping that these students would make a positive change in the world after graduation. Is it true that there are special UWC scholarships in some universities? If so, who sponsors them? Yes, that is true. The most famous one being the Davis UWC Scholarship, which is available at several US universities and which is funded through Shelby Davis. There are also other international UWC scholarships, but personally I haven't researched the specifics about them. But don't worry, if you're at a UWC, your university guidance counselor is going to have a list of all of them, so you can get informed about them. If I do community services or volunteer for an association, does that make my application a strong one? Yes and no. Yes, if you are doing it for the right reasons. So you are passionate about this, you want to make a good change, but if you're just doing it to be on your CV, then no. And believe me, they will know why you do things, because simply by the way you talk about something, it already tells them why you're doing it. So only do things that you are actually passionate about, and don't just do it because you think they're gonna like it on your application. Another point, should I be proficient in English for the interview? No, the interview is held in German, so you don't need to be proficient in English for that one, and there is no language test at the selection weekend, so don't worry. Are the students allowed to go to the city regularly whenever they want, of course after lessons? For example, to join a non-UWC sports club with no UWC people? Yes, you are allowed to do that, but there are curfews, so you have to be back by 9 p.m. on weekdays, and by 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, or 1 a.m. if you get an extension, or if you get an overnight, you can stay out the entire night. Did you mind having roommates? No, I did not. I absolutely loved my roommates. Obviously, having roommates was a big change for me, but I really enjoyed having roommates, and I think it's one of the best parts of the UWC experience, so it's something to look forward to and not be afraid of. What are the cons of going to UWC? The food. I'm not kidding. I'm a vegetarian, and my dinner and lunch consisted of rice, soy sauce, and some salad for 6 days out of a 7-day week. So that was really frustrating. But I do have to say, LPC realized that there were not many options for vegetarians, and they are changing that. So I think if you're becoming a student at LPC, even like 1 year down the road, this is probably not going to be a huge issue anymore. Could you list what schools you would like to go to on your application? If yes, what were your choices and why? Yes, you could indicate a preference, and I indicated Hong Kong as my first choice because I wanted to learn more about Chinese politics and Hong Kong's status as a special administrative region. Oh, this is German. Okay, what are your chances of getting in at the moment? How many applications are there? How many are invited for an interview? And how many get in at the end? So I don't know about the current stats because, well, they don't just, you know, send out an email to all the alumni and are like, here are the stats. But I know back when I applied, so this is like 3 years ago now, There were around 400 applicants, 120 got invited for an interview, and they took around 40 to 50. Can you tell us about the interview? What did they ask? What people are they looking for? Okay, so anything about the interview, I made a video which is linked up here in the info box for you guys about the UWC interview, and this is really all I can say about the interview because the questions are tailored towards the applicant, so it's not going to help you to know the specific questions that they asked me because they are going to ask you very different questions based on your application. What extracurricular activities did you like most in UWC? I guess I liked Model United Nations the most because I had never done it before, and I actually got to know it only once I attended LPC, and I really enjoyed it when I was at LPC because you pretend to be in a UN committee and then you talk about like an issue that may be of regional importance and maybe of international importance, and you basically have students from the entire world in that classroom, and you know, they all know about this issue really well, and some of them because it actually affects their country, and that's just so interesting and mind-blowing. Like, I loved MUN. When is the application weekend? What if you can't attend? Okay, so the application weekend is in early January, and there are 2 weekends for the interviews. So 60 people go to the first interview weekend and 60 people go to the other one. If you can't attend one of them, they're going to offer you to come to the other one. But if you can't attend either of them, well, they may offer you to do that via Skype, but it's highly unlikely, so you will probably not have a chance to get admitted. The weekend is national, not international, and you're allowed to speak your native language, right? Yes. Where in Germany was it? Oh my gosh, I think it was in Kassel, but I'm honestly not sure about that, and I think they may change it every year, like depending on which venue is still available, so yeah. But don't worry, if it's really far from your home, they do offer to give you support for your travel costs, so that should be fine. What would be an accepted reason not to want to attend a specific college? Accepted reasons include security concerns or, for example, health concerns. Those are, by the way, really important to research. If you guys have a specific illness, or for example, you're in a wheelchair, there are some colleges which you simply cannot attend. So please make sure to check with your national committee whether you can actually attend these colleges, because you don't want to get admitted to a college and then later on have to say, well, actually I can't come because they don't have the specific things that I need in order to look after my health. So that's really important. And don't worry, the national committees do have lists of the schools which can support students with certain disabilities and illnesses, so make sure to contact them about this issue. It's not going to affect your application in a negative way, they just need to know about it. Was it expensive to get into UWC? Well, no, it's not expensive to get in. It's expensive to attend, but then they have financial aid, and so then it's fine. Is there a special college where your chances are the highest to get accepted? No, because you just apply to your national committee and they choose the college which you attend. So your chances of getting into any college are exactly the same. Do you know if any UWCs offer dance as an IB/HL subject or in CAS? Okay, I don't know if any of the UWCs offer that as a higher level subject, but I do know that LPC has a few extracurriculars related to dance, and they actually do have a dance CAS group. So yes, you can definitely do dance in your free time. Were you allowed to stay on campus during holidays? Yes, we were allowed to stay on campus during holidays, but not during the summer break or winter break, because those are the bigger breaks, and the teachers have to go on holidays as well, so no one will be there to supervise us. During winter break, you are allowed to leave all of your stuff in your room, and during summer break, we had to pack up our entire room, and then international students could put everything in a storage room of the college so that we wouldn't have to bring it back home. Do you think it's better to start UWC as a 16 or 17-year-old? I don't think age matters for that experience. Is it okay to be LGBT at UWC? Of course it is. I mean, UWC students are some of the most open people in the world. Like, I don't think there's a better place to embrace being a member of the LGBTQIA+ community than being at the UWC. My parents are concerned that UWC is a posh private school and will turn me into a snob. How can I convince them otherwise? Oh my gosh, I think UWC is like the least posh place in the entire world. There are literally people who come to class without having their shoes on, and it is socially accepted. So if you want to convince your parents that LPC is not posh, just bring them to an open day of a UWC and they're going to see for themselves. How do universities look at students from UWC? Is it a problem that all my extracurricular activities are in one place? No, it's not a problem that all your extracurricular activities are in one place, and I guess universities do like students who want to make a positive change in this world and believe in values such as promoting peace and sustainability, so I think you're having pretty good chances of getting into a university. Is the IB really that much harder than the German A-levels? No, I actually think German A-levels are a lot harder because you study more subjects, it's a lot more intense, and so yeah, I think if you're from Germany, the IB is actually a little bit easier than German A-levels. Would you recommend UWC? Definitely. How much work did you have to do to get good grades? A lot. I'm not gonna lie, lie. I mean, I wanted really good grades because I wanted to go to a very good university and study law, so I worked very hard for these grades, but in my opinion it was worth it. How was UWC like as an experience? In one word, amazing. Do you think that if I'm B1 in English it would be hard for me to try to understand like all the lessons in my school if we didn't have the opportunity to learn different subjects in English? I think it's definitely going to be a challenge, but UWCs have a lot of support for students whose first language is not English, so don't worry, they are definitely going to do their best to help you in the first months to adjust to English lessons, and then you're going to be absolutely fine. What do you think one has to write in their application to stand out and be accepted to the weekend? I don't think it's really as much about what you write. I think it's more about how you write about it, because if you write about it in a very genuine and authentic way, they can really tell that you're being honest. And then obviously, like, if the content is good, that helps a lot as well. But yeah, I think the most important thing is really that you're being honest with them, because they don't want to read a sophisticated essay that's just really fake and not you, because that's not going to get you an invitation to the interview. What do you think is the profile of the students you met there? I think the students I met there were inspiring human beings who had a lot of energy and who were really willing to dedicate a lot of their time to different projects in order to help others. And that in the end inspires you as a person to also do that and help these people with their projects. Did you bring everything in your luggage? No, of course not. There was way too much stuff. So what I did is I brought my essentials, like my clothes, my shampoo and stuff like that in my luggage, but I bought things like my laundry bag or bed sheets and stuff once I was in Hong Kong. Can I join any university, whether in the USA or Europe, easily? Yes and no. So for the US, absolutely no problem. In Europe, some countries have specific requirements of different subjects that you need to take in order to be allowed to attend a university there. But if you're planning on attending an international university, you are definitely absolutely fine with an international baccalaureate. Will you have a separate room in the UWC? No, you will definitely have roommates, but there are UWCs where there are single rooms, but I have no idea which ones they are. But yeah, your national committee will definitely know more about that. Will you choose the place you will go to? No, they will choose it for you based on your interview and what they think is the best place for you to study at. I read that 40% of students at Liepituin were from Hong Kong. Wasn't it weird that they could all talk to each other in Chinese while you were probably one of the few German students there? Okay, so actually the number has gone up to 50% now. And personally, I didn't mind that most of the students could speak Chinese, because most of them ended up speaking English when they were with international students, because they want to get to know the international students as well. They didn't come there to speak Chinese all the time and not learn about different cultures. That's not why you join UWC. So it's absolutely no problem that many students speak the same language that you don't speak. So don't worry. Did you feel a sort of Asian-dominated culture at LPC? If yes, how did that influence you? No, I don't think so. I don't think there was an Asian-dominated culture. Just because 50% of the people are Asian, that doesn't mean that, you know, it's like an Asian school. Because it's still an international school and it's still a UWC, so it is more of an international environment than an Asian environment. If I'm accepted to UWC but my parents cannot afford it, will I get a full scholarship? Not necessarily, only if your parents can literally not afford to pay $1 towards your education. But if they can afford to contribute even just a little, then you'll get a partial scholarship that covers everything your parents cannot cover. But if your parents can contribute a little, they will have to contribute that amount. How's social life at UWC? Busy, but really good. My parents cannot afford my studies abroad, so is there a possibility that an IB graduate will get a full scholarship in a university? Yes, but you have to apply to universities that offer need-based financial aid to international students. What happens when a student fails the IB or has gained a very low score? Can he try again? I think you have the chance to retake your IB exams, but it's probably not going to be at your UWC, because UWCs are only a 2-year program and they expect you to be academically strong enough not to fail the IB. Also, how would you recommend people choosing a UWC school that fits for them? I think do a lot of research on what they offer, especially what kind of extracurriculars they offer, if they have a specific focus, and then think about which one you would like to attend. Also, look at pictures and just think about, would you feel at home at that place? If the answer is yes, pick it as your first choice. For many students, it's just gut feeling. So really trust your gut on that one. And at the end of the day, the selection committee has a very good idea of what these schools offer. So they will definitely place you in a school where you will fit in and where you have the opportunities that you want. If my grades aren't really that great, is it still possible for me to get in? Yes, but you will probably have to make up for the grades with something else, like doing a lot of extracurriculars or volunteering somewhere, etc. Like, you really need something that stands out in your application that makes up for not so good grades. I applied for UWC this year, but I didn't get in, and I wanted to know if I still have a chance to get in if I apply a second time. Okay, so here it's really important that you check with your national committee on the national policies on this. In Germany, you can apply again if you weren't invited for an interview. If you weren't invited for an interview, there is no second chance. but if you still fit the age requirement and you weren't invited for the interview, you can definitely try again. Will you share more about your essays from the application? No, because the essays that I wrote were written about a person in my family who was ill and how their illness has affected me, and this person has asked me to keep it private, which I completely understand, so I'm not going to share my UWC essays. Also, do you think doing volunteering in only one place and having a blog is not enough to apply? I guess you can apply with like anything. It's not really about having enough. For me personally, I did all these extracurriculars because I genuinely wanted to do them and I enjoyed them, not because I wanted them to be on my application. And I would really discourage anyone from just doing extracurriculars for having it on your application. Do the things you're passionate about and, just allocate your time to these things. And if those things end up being 2, that's absolutely fine. If they end up being 8, that's fine too. So really do as much as you personally want to do, and don't, think about how much do they want to see on the application. It's not really about the quantity, it's a lot more about the quality of the things that you do and how genuinely passionate you are about these things. Can you give advice on how to write a personal statement or essay? Be honest, brutally honest. Really tell them who you as a person are. And I also wrote a little guide for you guys on how to approach different essay questions and how to get yourself in the mood of writing an essay for UWC, and that is linked below in the description box if you guys want to have some more advice on writing essays for your application. What is sports like in UWC? Is it just like a hobby, extracurricular, or do people have actual practice sessions and stuff? How about table tennis in specific? Okay. So LPC did not offer sports as a subject, but there were lots of extracurricular groups for sports, and they actually did have scheduled practices. The football team and the basketball team also competed in competition, so they actually had to train on a regular basis in order to get to these competitions. And regarding table tennis, there was a group of students which played occasionally, but there was no set club for it. But you can just create your own table tennis club if you're at a UWC if there isn't one already. The schools are usually very supportive of students who want to start their own stuff, so really don't worry about that. And yeah, those were all the questions that I could fit in this video. I hope this helped you guys. If you guys have any other questions about UWC or the IB, feel free to contact me through my blog's contact section, which is linked in the description box below, or just leave a comment on this video and I will get back to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!